In your testimony, you point out that there were some accounting requirements for any kind of federal monies. And you want to make sure that the charter schools fulfills those particular requirements. Charter schools are not known to be good paperwork people. How would you ensure that the paperwork requirements of federal grants are be accomplished?
Well, what we have been doing, we've been talking with the charter school network and the schools, as well as the charter school panel, the administrative office, is making sure there's clear understanding up front about what the requirements are. And I believe Nahale actually has been having schools, when they receive the funds, sign off that they understand what the requirements are when they receive those funds. On the back end of it, if they don't report, we're a little bit stuck. We need to just keep talking with them about getting the data in place and trying to request assistance from administrative service office, etc.
Would it be better if you just withhold a percentage of those funds and provide those services through your administration or to your department?
I think traditionally we've allowed the charter schools to manage their own funds. One thought may be to withhold some funds pending final,
Right.
final, really, I mean, we get the report, you
Right.
get the last 10% like a retainage on
Exactly.
a construction contract. We've not had that discussion yet. That's certainly something that we could discuss with the charter schools, but
Maybe with the history of the charter school, maybe that should be on the front burner instead of a afterthought.
right.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Representative Finnegan?
Thank you, Superintendent. Actually, my questions are for anybody from CSAO or Mr. Nahale. Thank you. My question, Mr. Nahale, is to ask you, you guys are known as being not good paperwork people.
I heard that.
So I would like to know, are you and others, I know we've had one audit on Waters of Life, or not Waters of Life,
Yes.
Waters of Life, that definitely, you know, they weren't good paperwork people. But I would like to ask, what about the rest of the 30 people, 30 charter schools? And do you have the ability to become good paperwork people?
Absolutely. And I want to preface that I'm the new ED for the network, but I ran a public charter school for 6 years. It was a very successful school, and I know every charter administrator personally. I've been to every school, and I to be honest, I really don't know where that perception comes from. Even though it's not a requirement, 22 of the 31 schools do an external audit every year. Those records are open to everyone. I think that from my experience, what happens is that we get a directive to provide information in a real state-oriented bureaucratic way, which is really not that simple to do. So our response has always been, well, we'd like to give you the information, but we can't give it to you like that because that's not how we do business. For example, the DOE chart of accounts is about this thick. You can't run a little school with a chart of accounts that big, so we use a different chart of accounts. So to me, I think we feel real strongly that we're probably the most open, transparent kind of state entity there is in Hawaii, but we get it, we don't match. We would like to work towards finding a way to standardize our accounting practices so that it's an easy report up. But the problem is not intention or even bad paperwork. The problem is square hole, round peg.
Do you see, have you had any...
With exceptions.
Okay.
But please don't judge the whole movement by one or two schools, yeah.
Right. Have you had any discussions as to how you may have to report back to the department if this would happen?
Absolutely, and I think if you brought 31 schools to the table, 31 would say, we got to meet every requirement that the federal program expects. Absolutely, we agree with that.
Do you have the ability to meet those requirements as you exist today?
Yeah, I think this is the big issue with this federal funding bill is that, for example, a lot of the federal funding programs are competitive, and then they're designed for district areas, right? So to apply, you have to kind of apply as a elementary, middle, high school feeder system, which we are not. So then we get kind of cut out of the process. So I think it's an example of sometimes the way, and to be honest, the previous superintendent has acknowledged this for several years, that the way that they do their consolidated plan is biased against charter schools. So all we've ever asked is, if you're going to use public charter school students in your application, the programs that are run need to be open to public charter schools. And any accounting system that is required, we will meet as long as we can kind of negotiate and, talk apples to apples. I mean, it can't be this after the fact, top-down approach to accounting.
So the schools are prepared to see if they can meet those requirements prior to receiving any federal money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to say that one of the reasons we've actually staffed, right, I'm the first employee of this network, is that we understand that as a movement, we have to work and be more collective in honoring the needs of the legislature, the Department of Education as the SCA, the federal grant managers. And so, that's part of my job, is to police our schools. If I got 25 schools who want to do it one way and 3 who don't, we can now say, hey, you 3 got to get on board, because it's going to make everybody happier.
The 22 external audits out of the 31 schools, do you guys have that online, or the ability to put that online?
We do. This is one of the issues we get no extra funding to do those audits. As far as I know, not a single DOE school does an external audit, and they're not cheap. So the point I'm making is most schools can't even afford a website. If they have one, it's a parent did it, and it's so we testified earlier on the external audits bill that was killed, that we would be happy to all of us do external audits if it was funded separately.
But you have 22 out of the 31 that do it on your own.
On our own, we find some way to do it because we believe in those practices. So we could put it online probably, but these schools are being run by, I know firsthand. These are guys that are running schools, teaching classes, cleaning toilets. It's not, posting online is you have to have the website. It has to be well managed. You got to put the stuff up, make sure it's easy to download. It's extra work.
Thank you very much.
But anyone who wants a copy could just simply ask, and I'll get you a copy directly if you want an audit.